Hello, Flosstube. Welcome. My name is Teresa. This is the Garden Goose Stitcher Flosstube. If you're new, hey, how are ya? If you're coming back, hi, missed ya. It's been about 3 weeks. If this is episode 44, I think. 44-ish. February 19th. It's been 3 weeks since we chatted. I don't have a ton to show, but if I didn't show it now, I probably wouldn't remember what I did at all. So it's probably now or even dodgier later. So we'll do it now. We've been busy with snow, the end of hockey. Last night was his last game. It was a playoff game. They lost. It wasn't brutal though. It was a gentle loss. It was fine. We've been getting a lot of snow, but it's still been sunny around here, so we're still getting a bunch of eggs each day, like 8 or 9 or 10 every day in the winter. That's kind of unheard of, because I think we only got 3 new chickens last year. So I don't know who's out there doing that, but whatever. So, school, seems like Nate hasn't had a whole week of school this entire year, maybe. He just had a 4-day weekend, but it was a 5-day because of snow, so we've been watching a lot of junk TV. Ooh, I'm caught up on Love is Blind. How about you? We celebrated Nate's 17th birthday since we last spoke. He let me have a little night of pizza and cake with family. I think he needed the money, you know. He has the freedom of being able to drive, but does he have income? No, so he needed a birthday party with aunts and uncles and cousins and grandmas. He does not like the attention. He hates the attention of people looking at him. He's not used to it. So we've been doing a lot of snow shoveling and vegetative stating. I'm anticipating spring. We're hoping that we're going to be tapping later this week. So either Friday or Saturday we'll be tapping our trees, our maples. And so hopefully things will start thawing out. I just went and got groceries and stuff, and I was thinking, it's ugly out. Everybody's got white salt residue all the way up their cars. Everybody's coats are splattered with stuff. We could use a nice little bit of thawing around here, but at least it's been sunny, so we have nothing to really complain about. Hey, let's talk about stitching. I've been stitching quite a bit. I have no haul to show you, but I have some stitching. And actually, I'm going to start with my finishes, and I'm still going to put this as a finish. Last time we spoke, I was stitching on Wordy Birds from Sweet Wing Studio, the January Wordy Birds. It's so cute. And I completed this on the last day of the month. However, when I was just putting it on this board, I saw 4 stitches that are missing. Ding, dang it. I stitched this on the called for fabric. It is Aqua Fresca by Grace Notes Fabrics. This is a 16 and the called for is 32. So it just reads a little bit, I don't know, I thought it was okay. I skipped the flowers that are supposed to be along the top because I think that they would just get ghosty, and I hate that. You can see that square that 4 little stitches are missing. Dang it. Anywho, so I finished this on the last day of the month. And I feel like it was early. I don't. Did the month end on a weekend? Were we snowed in? For some reason, I was free to move on to more stitching. And I felt like I could either start a Plum Street prize. Because, you know, I've given myself a basket of Plum Street kits. That if I finished my ABC apostrophe S's, that I felt like I could start a new one. But I had less than a day. So I did start it. I have a new start, but I'll show it to you. I have a couple more finishes. Are you proud? Except for not so much about that. I need to start my February. I still need some floss to kit that up, actually. I went to replace my car stitch, my ABC stitch, with my February Wordy Birds, because I still had a couple of hockey games left. And I found I didn't have all the floss. I've been working on a big project. I don't remember if I mentioned it last time, where I'm going through my backstock of DMC and making sure I have every number, at least one. So I have backstock, but I'll have 6 of one number, but then I had huge gaps in between others. And so I could tell what my common like my favorite designers usually call for, because I had multiples of those. Because I used to at least, if I was kitting up like a prairie schooler, well, she uses a lot of the same colors, and especially her monthly series. So I would go and buy everything for that. So I might have a whole bunch of 435 or something, but I don't actually put it on a floss drop until I'm out of what I currently had, because I was getting off of bobbins and doing floss drops. So it's been a process. So I've just been going through number family by number family. It's in like a photo box. And I went to Hobby Lobby last night. I dropped Nate off at the game. He has to do warm-ups and stuff. And I jetted over to Hobby Lobby, and I bought 120 flosses that were the gaps. And I think I still have a couple of number families left that I have not patched all the holes. So it's been a process. So, but Exhibit A of why I would like to have that done is my Wordy Bird February has not even fully been kitted up. So I'd like to have one of every floss. And then I suppose, how do you maintain that? Do you have like a list in your box of what you've used, so that next time you go, like once a month, recoup it? Probably wouldn't even need it once a month, I suppose. But anywho, let's keep going. Let me show you what I finished. This was my ABC stitch that's always kept in my car. Always bring cross stitch. Listen, if you have a kid in braces or sports, you know you need to have cross stitch in your car. I keep it in this clutch. I think a couple episodes ago I meant to talk about one of these, and I could not think of the word. Is it shocking? No. But here we are talking about a clutch, the cross stitch clutch. This one, I believe, was in the goodie bag that was part of Stitch Florida's Welcome to the Retreat. It's made by Farmhouse Needleworks. She does great work. And I have a matching... No, I don't. I was going to say, I think I have another one of these. And I have a project bag it matches, but I don't know where that is right now. But this guy is perfect for my car. I keep a pair of scissors in it. This is the pattern I've been stitching. It's the barn quilt that's in the center of Lori Holt's flea market baskets. It's a medallion design. And so a couple years ago, Fat Quarter Shop changed the colors seasonally, so you could stitch 12 of them, and then you could change them out. This is my July. So out of the series, my series project this year is to finish up 4 different series that I have gaps. Are you sensing a theme? There's gaps in everything around here. So I had 6 missing of the Barn Sweet Barns. Now this is the second one I finished. And I ended up using the DMC placement that they had and changing it to fancy floss. I use a bunch of color and cotton, and then I use one classic color work. And I think, I'm probably making this up, I think this fabric is a hunk of leftover flannel flower by Fox and Rabbit. I had stitched Autumn Garden on this fabric, I think. And I think this was in my scrap bin. And I just surely do love that. I wonder if a girl could get more of that somewhere. But I think it was either called Flannel Flower or Flannel Friend. My bad, you guys. I don't know. I'm not so sure. But sure is a great variegation in that floss. And I really enjoy stitching on this. And so, love the portability of these projects, of these little guys. I'll probably keep one of those in my car until they're done. And then maybe I'll do the next smallest one, because it makes sense to have a nice little small one. So, but I love keeping it in this thing. It fits in my purse too. I don't carry a big purse, but this will fit in there. So I love that. So I finished up Wordy Birds on the last day of the month. And then I feel like I've been everywhere. I started my Anniversaries of the Heart, because I feel like that is my focus. For each month, I want to definitely get my Anniversaries of the Heart stitched. But I really want to get my whips going, because I really want to accomplish all my Whipgo goals. So, and this is a short month. And I knew when we had hockey and birthday and everything else. So I've been bebopping everywhere. However, it's not that squirrely. So I had Another finish. I worked a couple days on anniversaries, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then I switched to my Whipgo. I was like, okay, I'll start on anniversaries, get a good push, and then I want to go to one of my Whipgos. Now, this Whipgo goal had me nervous. I did not have a lot. I had the house. I had part of this stem. I think I had a tiny bit of one of those one of those leaves, and then I had a couple of the letters to do still. I think I had the oot and butt left. And then I had the bottom grass, and then, but there was still a lot of the sunflower stem to do, and all of these. And this is, I don't know what this is. It's got to be a 32 count. Perhaps it's 28, but if it is, it's a small one. I bet you it's a 32. I have no record of it anywhere. Like, I have a project card with no fabric listed. There's no sticker, there's no tag, there's nothing in the bag. All of my normal methods of keeping track, I've failed. I'm so sorry. But I sure do love this fabric. I would like to keep some more in my stash. It's a beautiful blue gray. So I stitched on this. I think I ended up stitching on this for 5 full days, and then I needed a little bit of a 6th to finish up some of these little doodads on the sides. And I know a couple of my friends skipped those, and I thought about it. But I really do like them. So I had used, she called for a couple of fancy flosses and then a couple of DMCs. She supplied the DMC conversions, but I use those DMC colors to convert it to coloring cotton, because I love variegation of coloring cotton. And so this is my But God by the Bay Needle Art. I did this as a sale last year. I think that Holly made us do it, or Holly was stitching it, and we decided to sell with her. That's the right way it went. And I don't remember why. I don't know if Graham was having a routine thing or if it was an ailment. I'm not sure. But I had not very much done, I felt like. And I know there's a couple of boo-boos, but it looks beautiful. And I can't wait to fully finish it. So I sure would like to look up that fabric. And perhaps I put it on Instagram when I first started this project. I'll have to go back and look. I'm not that great about posting my new starts. Sometimes I am. I think it depends on how excited I am about the project, whether or not I post it ahead of time or before I start. Because sometimes when you start a project and you lay your fabric and your floss and the pattern there, and you get your favorite little snips that you think you want to have around, and it's just so pretty. And I haven't even started yet, you know? Okay, so I'd worked on that, got him finished. This is technically a new start and a finish, but then it's not. It's a new, it's a whip. I've been working on Anniversaries of the Heart. I think I stitched on this for two or 3 days, possibly. Today's the 19th. I don't know, because I did both of my Whipgo calls, 5 days each. One I finished, one I did not. And then I don't know where I am on how many days I worked on it. But I'll tell you, I was very frustrated with it. I got tired of it, so I had to take a break. That's why I did my Whipgos. I'm talking about Valentine Rose by Blackbird Designs. This is part of Anniversaries of the Heart, the number 2. It's the February house. And I stitched a whole bunch of it. And then I had the mortar stitched. And that's what really, it was tedious. It was a little bit tedious. And I just took a little break. All I had left was fill in. So when I picked it up 2 nights ago, I think, I had to fill in the bricks, fill in the door, fill in the windows. A little bit of the urn left is satin stitches. And I'll tell you, I have not done satin stitches on a fabric that's an even weave or a linen. I've only done it on Aida. And you know, satin stitches are kind of a pain in the rear on Aida. It doesn't lay right, and you have to puncture in between the strands. So I thought, oh, it'll be real easy to do it on fabric it was meant to do. That was not true. I would say that this urn is, if it's painted this red color, it's chippy. It's got some paint chip. It's old and crusty. don't look too close. I'll show you up close. But I had done all the mortar in one color because the two colors that were called for, one of mine was very yellow. And I thought, well, it's not what it was meant to be. So I did all of the mortar in one color. And then the other color that had been called for was this window color. And mine, see how yellow mine is? Mine is quite yellow. So I'm glad that I didn't do it in the mortar. I think it would have looked a little scrambly. I didn't do the specialty stitches that were in the flowers, but that urn is a little chippy. It's fine. The 1/1 for Nathan's name was a bit of a bear, and it looks super wonky. I don't know if I need to yank the fabric or what. Oh boy. I skipped the two birds on the roof, and it was really an enjoyable stitch. It was just that once I got that mortar in, I thought, I'm just gonna do a Whipgo for a couple days. Need a couple of days. But then last night when I finished stitching Valentine Rose, and so it's a finish, right? I kind of consider each of these its own project, kind of. I mean, otherwise, how could I keep going? So, last night, after I finished Valentine Rose, so I knew that I knew who I wanted to stitch January and February for. My dad, who passed away 10 years ago, and my son, who was born in February. And so, I knew that. So, I hadn't really had to consider what was coming. There's one per month, technically. Do they scream a theme in most? I mean, no. I mean, other than this wintry one, and this sure does look Valentine's-y. Some of them you could swap around, you know. But the way the placement is really does look very cohesive. So, but for my people, I mean for my people, who's going where? I hadn't even really sat down and thought about it. So last night when I finished Valentine Rose, and I was so happy, and it's so beautiful. And then I was thinking, okay, well, March, I definitely want to stitch my sister. I have a brother and a sister, and I have 3 stepsisters, but I think that I'm just going to put my sister Jacqueline in this. She was born in March, and so she's next. And then my mom was born in April, so I think I'll do a block, the April's block will be for my mom. And then I really started thinking about who else of my family I wanted to include in there. And I mentioned this before. I have a complicated family a little bit. My parents were divorced. I don't think that that's uncommon nowadays, sadly. So I really just wanted to put my family in here and then do the best I could, right? So ideally, I would have put an anniversary block for my parents. Well, I wasn't going to do that. You know, my mom's been married for 20 years to my stepdad, so that would be more appropriate to me. But it's complicated. Who do you add? Who do you not? Who do you not? And to be honest, my in-laws are even more complicated than my family. If it's possible. True, it is possible. So I'm doing my family. And that's the way it is. I'm doing, the only thing I'll do is the anniversary, or the one with the 2 swans. I'll put my date with my husband. And his initials. Also, I'll show you something coming up. I just scramble. I'm sorry, I can't keep a straight thought going. If you're new, that's common. If you've been here, you know that. Anyway, so I'm basically focusing on my family. I spent quite a bit of time on findagrave.com. I had some old obituaries that I somehow had found, and I had a screenshot on my phone. But then I was looking at, like, my great-grandmother. I used to spend a lot of time with my great-grandmother growing up. In fact, my mom's mom had early onset dementia, so I spent way more time with my great-grandmother than I did my grandmother. So that's the thing, right? So my grandma obviously meant a lot to me, but I didn't know her very well because she was gone, even though she was there. But my great grandmother, and the stories she would tell, if you live in Michigan, I lived on M53. It is a major highway it does not produce a lot of neighborhoods or neighborly. We were lived next to a church and a feed store. So it's complicated. I've been to therapy. It's fine. I'm not embarrassed anymore. But I didn't have neighbor friends, and I didn't have a typical suburban, experience, right? But where we lived, I was able to go the back way. There was it was a drive. It was called Dan Drive. But I used to be able to take this service drive over and then ride my bike to my grandmother's, even at like 5, which I think might be illegal nowadays. And I used to go over there, and she would read me her diary and play me records. And we would play concentration, or the game where you had to match the shapes before they all shake. And she always had a little jar of M&Ms. So she needs to be in there. And so the stories that she told me, some of the people that I want to put on here, I feel like I know them better because of the stories she would always tell me. So her sister Alma, who I hear all of these stories from her all the time about her, I want to include her. I feel like she left such an important mark on our family, even though I didn't get to meet her. I think she died a couple years before I was born. But pretty much every story has Alma along for the ride, because she was my great-grandmother's sister, closest in age. So anyway, it's not even like this line of family is going in here, because I'm going to put my great-great-grandmother on there, and my great-grandmother and her sister and my grandparents, both sides. And I decided to do my grandmothers, both my grandmothers. And then I think I figured out a way to do both of their anniversaries with their husbands. So I wanted to do that. And so I spent quite a bit of time. I was up late. Dave and Nate had to get up early today. I didn't. I slept till 9. So I stayed up quite a long time figuring out who I wanted to put where. What would be the most meaningful for me, and who would be the most meaningful people that I wanted to see when I put this on there. It almost makes me think, now I am not doing that. It almost makes me feel like maybe I should do a smaller version of this with my husband's family. Maybe I will. So that someday when we're dead, Nate will have my family's history in one and then my husband's another. I don't know who I would put on it. It would be so weird. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Did you know that since I saw you last, perhaps, I found this book on the internet. I'm in a genealogy Facebook page for my dad's side of the family. And I feel like, I don't know, it's weird. They're all gone. Like my dad's gone, my grandparents are gone. My uncles do a pretty good job of storytelling, but sometimes they contradict each other. And I'm like, I don't know. Listen, that was the 70s. They weren't paying attention, apparently. I don't know. So, listen, the biggest stories that came out of that family was of the big parties they had and blowing up a gunpowder in a Band-Aid box in my grandma's bedroom. And so, they were a wild bunch. My grandma made it through, and she was crafty as heck. I really sometimes, when I'm crafting, and I'm like, man, this did not come from my mother. It must have skipped a generation. It came from my grandmother's. My dad's mom was a master seamstress. I had the most elegant Barbie clothes that she sewed. A fur coat. Man, you should have seen the robe and nightgown my Barbie was. She was the classiest Barbie in all of the town. And I just think, man, she had 4 boys. I'm sure I was wasted on her. Oh, I should have paid more attention. Oh, so anyway, I need to stitch a piece someday and make sure it has her on it. Because I really think she could cuss like me. She was a little bit of sassy. Most people are much more delicate. Anywho, what were we talking about? Oh my gravy. So on this Facebook genealogy page, somebody had posted, the woman who runs it, I don't know what she's doing, but it's like her job or something. I don't know if she has a job. Anyway, she posted on there, hey, there's a copy of this book for our family if anybody wants it. It's on eBay. And it's The American Family genealogy, and then it's the Hoisington family. And so, and like the story goes that anybody who's a Hoisington was related to John Hoisington because it is a Horsington back then. But anyway, so everybody knows if you're related to John Horsington, we're all related. If you ever were a Hoisington or know a Hoisington, they're my family. So anyway, so I ordered that book, and I didn't know that they did that. And it was published in 1932, and my grandpa had just made it in the book, and his older brother was in there. So anyway, so I was reading about the Horsingtons and where they came from, and like it went all the way back to Adam and Eve. It went past the ark. But anyway, so it was quite an interesting book. So then I've been reading that, and it's interesting, and researching more online. So I just don't know if this piece started it or if it was always just like simmering right there. But boy, I've had a really good time looking into all of this and whatever. Also, my great-grandfather, my grandpa's dad, who died of TB, I think. No, typhoid. He was a traveling salesman, and he picked up typhoid somewhere on his route. And he died like before my dad was born, or maybe right when my dad was young. Anyway, he had a wife. He had a wife before my great-grandmother. And so David was reading it. I was like, no, that's Evisha, is my great-grandmother. He's like, well, it says this lady. And I was like, who is that? And it was really late at night, and I was like, wait a minute, who's my great-grandmother? And I just could not fathom, because they had his first wife listed there, and then below it said the children are with his second wife, Evisha, and I was like, what? I couldn't fathom it for a second. It was too late. I hadn't been drinking or nothing. Anyway, I'm having a rip-roaring great time doing this, thinking about these people, meditating on memories, and I just am enjoying it. However, last night when I was excited about my sister's block being the next one, because she was born in March, and I was thinking about this placement of these patterns, and the bonus pattern goes between February and March, and I was thinking, when am I going to do that bonus? If I'm doing one of these a month, and I know there's 2 extra, right? There are 2 extra. I think there's. When am I going to get those done? And to get over to the block I need to stitch, I kind of need to do the bonus. So the bonus is inside of book pattern 7. This is pattern 7. And I can't wait to have this in there. It's like the center. A lot of people put it in the center. Or maybe it just works out to be that way. I don't know. But this is just a little sampler. Just an alphabet with a little urn. So I was thinking, my biggest problem with stitching on linen and Lugana and everything, even weaves, is navigating gaps. If there's no I need to keep it between the navigational beacons. Are you a Jimmy Buffett fan? But so if I don't have a great navigational something nearby to keep me steady, and then I can double check, triple check, I get really stressed out about the large gaps. So these are pretty small, and I was thinking, I guess everybody was just counting over 75 because they're 75, 85. Was everybody just counting over 75 plus the 3 and 3? I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in that. It would stress me out. So I decided to last night, as I was sitting there, and I'd just been on Find a Grave for an hour. I decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start that. I'm going to get across the bottom. So I started right there at the bottom, and I'm stitching over there. I'll stitch at least part of that urn so I can get to that corner. Because if I can get to that corner, then I'll know where to start March. So you can see that I did, in fact, stitch a little bit. I got quite a bit of it done. But beautiful pinks. Beautiful pinks. And so I've been working on this. Love it. I feel like I got February's done. I'm about to put my navigational beacon in for March, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm kind of excited that I get to show my sister. Like, she doesn't really get it, like, why I do this. I think she likes handmade stuff. You know, she appreciates family history, because at Nathan's birthday party, she was like, where's the book? Because I called her when I got that family book and I was like, did you know that they trace our family all the way back to Adam? Anyway, so you can see I got a little bit done. I think if I work on that bottom, get that across, and then each month when I have a couple of extra days, I will just work on a line of those numbers or letters, like a little bit at a time. And if I have to do it at the end, who cares? It'll be fine. So one whip and one finish. Is that how that works out? That's how it works out. Okay. But gosh, I sure do love stitching on that. I love watching other people's. There's a sale going on right now on the socials and in the Flosstube world. A whole bunch of people are stitching it. It started with Tiger Lily, Carrie, and Jessica Sweetwater Stitcher. They decided to cheer each other on as they stitched it and restitched it. I think Carrie restarted hers. I couldn't imagine. Like, listen, after doing that house, I couldn't imagine redoing it. And my friend Missy is doing it. A whole bunch of friends are doing it. So, and I just got a call from another friend who said, I think I'm going to do it. And I'm like, this is great. Do it. So, it's been really fun to watch other people do theirs as well. There's a like, of course, Instagram hashtags aren't so great anymore. But there used to be a great number of, inspirational posts, people finishing theirs. So I've been going back to that a lot of times to look at other people's to see. Okay, after I finished Wordy Birds, I had like I don't know, like 5 hours of the day that I didn't have anything to do. Probably laundry. I don't know. Was that a Friday? And I decided to start my Blackbird for February. And I cheated and I started it in January. But there's no police for cross stitch. My Blackbird new start for February is What Remains by Blackbird. I think a friend gifted me this. Holly, did you give me this? Is that true? So beautiful. Love it so much. Oh, did I tell you that my anniversaries, I was just thinking about being a Flosstuber and telling you, this is doubloon, 28 count. Isn't it beautiful? And also, I had another piece of doubloon, and it wasn't this, it didn't look quite like this. I don't know how much they vary, but isn't it beautiful? So, anyway, 28 count. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be big. But this, What Remains is stitched on a 36 count. This could be my first 36 count, but no, it's not. No, it's not. Something else was. Gosh, I feel like I just talked about it. However, one of the other projects I had stitched on 36 was on a Aztec red or something dark red. And I had trouble seeing that. So I've been really discouraged, but this is very lovely. I love it very much. This is Shakespeare's Peddler, 36 count graham cracker. Is that true? Graham cracker. I think it's got a sticker. 36 count graham cracker by Shakespeare's Peddler. And it's just a little start, just a few hours between swap and laundry or something. Oh, I bet you it was snowing. Who could remember? Feels like 8 years ago in snowy winterland. I'm going to tell you, I'm getting kind of sick of it. But we did book our spring break, so that helps. It sure helps. And it's nice. We needed to decide or not go, so we decided. Okay, so those have been all new starts, pretty much. And finishes and new starts. I have one other whip that got attention. And it did not get finished. But that's okay. In my Whipgo board, my two calls, my two calls were 7 and 8. One of them I finished, fully finished, but the Prairie Life Sampler came up and I was nervous. I was nervous. But it's on here twice because I knew it was very big. There's a couple of them on here that are on here twice. I think Sarah Newman's on here twice. Yeah, anyway. But I am up to date. I made myself $31 last month and $15 this month from getting my cross stitching done. Well, that's all gone because the needle pre-orders have gone in. Sorry. So that money's gone. I'll have to make some more. My Whipgo. But Prairie Life Sampler by Heartstring Samplery. Started this last year for Cousin Christy's birthday, Sal. And I had the tiniest. I had one flower outlined and not much. I picked it up. It's on 32 count. Picture this plus fog. I love it so much. I love it so much. Okay. I turned on Little House on the Prairie. I don't know when the last time I had watched the first ever episode. It was a roller coaster of emotions. I read all the books back when we lived in Japan. I used to watch the show when I was young. I think my mom still watches probably a dozen episodes a week. You know, on reruns. That and the Waltons. Whew, I did grow up on the Waltons. Anywho. So I turned on Little House on the Prairie. And I stitched on this for 5 days. And now it's been really fun to stitch on. And I could keep going, but I do have other goals. And this is on my Whipgo another time. I started with the bottom because I always do pretty much a left bottom corner start. However, I thought, like if you look at the pattern, I also wanted to start at the bottom because I think it'd be the hardest for me to have those navigational beacons. So I knew that these motifs would be challenging for me, and I want to take my time and, you know. So I've been working on this. Love it. After I get there's a couple more motifs over here. And then everything else looks pretty quick. I mean, the house and the trees, I'm sure they'll take a lot of filling, but at least it's not large gaps. So I have enjoyed so much. I am using the DMC. So I have done, I don't know if she must have given a DMC. So I have done a DMC conversion. Love stitching on this. Love it. So I spent 5 days with that, and I am looking forward to, if it got called in March, I'd be happy. Not that I would cheat at Whipgo. I cheated all last year, actually. But this year, I'm okay with it coming up whenever it does. Gosh, it is just beautiful, and I love stitching on it. So that is what I stitched. I didn't buy anything to show you. I pre-ordered a whole bunch. Did you know that one of my closest stores is Chantel's 141? She doesn't have fabric, but she has all of her good wood finishing pieces, and she was taking pre-orders for market. So I placed a big order with her, and she's doing an in-store pickup in person with a stitchy option. So you can pay a few bucks, and then you can go over to the Commons and stitch and socialize if you are into socialization. I think I am going to go. I don't know anybody else that's going. Are you going? I'm going. I'm thinking maybe. But, so I placed a big order with her, but she wasn't taking orders for fabric. So then I placed a big order with, Stacy from Thread the Needle Stitchery, and she's opening up her brick and mortar in a couple months, and I'm really excited for her. Everything's just coming together. And then I have another friend who's opening a shop, the Stitching Emporium. Hey, is that the right words? I'll put it down below if it's wrong. But my friend Jen from the Bougie Stitcher, she's opening up a store. IRL. So excited. I hope she'll end up doing the whole shebang, retreats and all. I would like to go out west again to visit. To visit, not to live. I need more water. I like the rainfall here in the lakes. Okay, so I ordered a ton of new stuff. What is going on? Why is everything irresistible this year? I ordered a whole bunch, and then there's still things that I think, well, if Chantel has a copy of it, I might pick that up too. Everything looks so exciting and so fun. What's a girl to do? So, I have nothing to show, but I will one day. I guess I'll check in a few weeks. I have some plans. Oh, do you want to talk about this? Sometimes I forget to talk about the quilt that's going on behind me, and then I get comments about it. I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't even think about it because I'm not in here a lot working on them. This is something I picked up and I've started to really work at. I started this back in 2018 when this fabric line by Tula Pink was brand new. It's called Zuma. It's so bright. I'm going to make this so I stop doing that. It's super bright. It's got sea life, whales, squid, all sorts of stuff. Seashells. And it's so bright. It's like nothing I've ever made for my house. And I want it for a beach quilt. And so back in 18, so 5 years ago, it's been a minute. My friends and I went to a Whipgo in Colorado Springs, and we all bought that bundle, a fat quarter bundle. We all bought that fat quarter bundle, and then we started cutting it up. And then when I went home, I really didn't work on it again. And then it got packed away, and then we moved. And so every time I'd pull it out, I thought, what is going on here? I really needed to sit down and make heads or tails of it. So I did. This pattern is called Village by Miss Rosie's Quilting Co. It's called Village. There's a lot of patterns named Village, but it's by Miss Rosie. So, I need to trim all these lower houses. Those are sewn, not together. And these ones all the roofs need to be trimmed. That is why I haven't got that quilt done, because every time I pull it out, I think, why am I trimming so much of this roof? But it's so that you can trim it up really nice and have a nice precise point. So, I've got it out. It's not going away until it's all pieced together and it's on the way to the quilter. So this weekend, I'm going with friends, my cousin Erin, who I've talked about sometimes. She has a farm shop, and a couple of friends, other quilting friends. We all used to quilt like crazy, and we had a Facebook group page, and we would constantly be doing quilt-alongs and gift quilts for babies. Everybody was in the right season of having young kids and needing a hobby we just needed it. And we all encouraged each other, and we were just in the right time where, I was making like at least 20 or 30 quilts a year, bigger ones, because it was just in my group. And now this has been up here for weeks. But I really want to get back to doing it at a more reasonable rate, because I'll tell you, making 30 quilts a month or 30 quilts a year is not financially responsible. We used to go to the quilt show in Rapid City. My friend would be like, "What day is it? What day is my credit card bill coming?" I didn't do that. She did it. And I encouraged her. That's so bad. Can you imagine? We've done Dave Ramsey since then. So I'm just saying, maybe like 3 quilts a year instead of 30, So I'm going with my friends and my cousin Erin this weekend to Mom's Wild. What do they call it? Mom's Gone Wild. But really, all we're going to do is quilt and maybe go thrifting and probably eat cheese. Reckless amounts of cheese. We'll be in pain before we go home. But my one friend, her parents go to Florida in January and February. They must come back in March, because we've never done it in March. And while they're gone, she invites her friends over to have a quilting party at their house. And so, yeah. So we go there. Instead of paying for a Whipgo, we just go to her parents' house. So that's this weekend. I'm really excited about it. Quilting, cheese, thrifting. So that's pretty much all I have plans right now. I have to pack all this up in a way that I'll be able to transport it and make heads or tails of it. But boy, if I can get on a streak, I have the longest attention span for quilting. I could sit and sew for hours. I just haven't done that in like 5 years or something. I don't know. I got out of it. But I have so many quilts. I think that truly is the problem here. We downgrade, like our house is small. This is the smallest house we've ever lived in. And I have the most quilts I've ever had. And storage is difficult. I don't know. I don't know what I need, but it includes a lot more totes of quilts before I feel like I can make it. I have tons of fabric. Oh, let's change the subject. So my plans are to go to Mom's weekend out. Mom's Gone Wild. Eat cheese. I'll probably go to Chantel's pickup date. That might be before I see you next. When is 3 weeks from now? Try to check in 3 weeks. Oh, so right after pickup and right before spring break, eh? We're going back down to Florida. You all better not pull out any record-breaking snow or cold temperatures. We're there for the heat and the waves. The warm beach. We're going. We're taking my mother-in-law with us this time. And, because she gets to travel with the same perks as we do through David's airline, the airline that David works at. He's not his airline. The airline that David is employed by gives the immediate family great perks. And so his mom gets to fly with for free. So and she's never used the benefits before. I think she's nervous. I mean, I'm not a great standby traveler either. But I think if she goes with us and sees how it works, then I think maybe she'll feel confident to do it. And maybe she'll go spend a little bit more time in Florida more often. Because she always complains about the winters up here. A lot of people do. Okay, so I'll check in with you in 3 weeks. I'm probably going to stitch. I need to pick up my February Wordy Birds. Get across that line so I can get ready for March. I might need some floss for my March Blackbird. I need to look into that. Hopefully I'll finish my DMC backstock catalog. And I don't know what else. Hey, I appreciate you. And the comments that you leave and the love that you guys send me, like messages on Instagram or email. I just appreciate you. I really do. And I hope that your winter is looking towards spring with hope. I was just texting with my cousin and I said something about, it was a cross-stitch quote. No, it probably came from somewhere else. I don't know. But it said something like, no winter lasts forever. Spring never skips its turn. And I think that might be a Silver Creek Samplers pattern. So anyway, I hope that you're doing well. Your stitching is going great. And I will check in with you in about 3 weeks. And I appreciate all of you. And happy stitching, friends. Bye-bye.